kick off hour number 2 by bringing on the Director of Athletics at Syracuse University. Pleased to be joined by John Wildhack. And John, I tell you what, this summer has flown by. I was looking at the calendar. Classes are just about to. Classes start a week from Monday
right
up on campus, and the opener is 2 weeks from tomorrow. Where did the summer go?
Summer's gone fast. It was a good summer. It's gone fast. Paulie, congrats. Your Padres are in first place, so hope I won't jinx you.
Series against your Dodgers coming up. So.
Go Dodger Blue, Paulie. I'm a Dodger fan.
Yes, Paulie has already made it known that we can't talk about the Padres because he's feeling very good about the team. He doesn't want anybody to jinx how well they're playing.
I won't say another word, Paulie.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's talk some Cuse football here. And
sure.
As we said, it all gets underway 2 weeks from tomorrow on the road down there in Atlanta. First and foremost, you look at the schedule as a whole, and we were talking about this the other day, and I got to go back to, I think 1998 might be the last time we saw a schedule this challenging. And, interestingly enough, that year started with Tennessee as well. And, Michigan the next week. And I think there were 5 ranked opponents in all, but one of them was in the bowl game. It was 4 during the regular season and 1 in the bowl game. Syracuse this year's got 5 ranked opponents in the regular season, the way it stands right now. What do you make of how challenging the schedule is this year?
On paper it's challenging, but it's good, Steve, because it presents opportunities as well. And we're going to have to play games like this to get to where we want to go. And where we want to go is to compete for ACC championships and be a college football playoff team. And I think ultimately, I'm not sure it's going to happen this year, but I think the playoff will eventually expand to 16 teams. But a game like Tennessee and Atlanta is really, really important for our program for a couple of reasons. Number one is to get in that game is not easy. All right, number one. Number two, it's great for our brand. It puts our brand out there. It's ABC, 12 noon on Saturday, coming out of game day. So you get a great lead in. It is one of the premier games in week 1. So there's tremendous amount of buildup and media attention towards that game. So, we've got to play in games like this occasionally, in Atlanta, in neutral site games and that type of thing, to take our brand and put our brand out there and to play high quality competition, which obviously Tennessee fits that bill. They were in the college football playoff last year. Again, it's part of how we want to build this program.
Gary Stokan from the Peach Bowl on with us a week or two ago, and he's one of the men in charge, as you know, with this AFLAC game down in Atlanta. And we asked him, I said, how did this come to be? And he said that he's known you for many years, through your time at ESPN and now through your time at Syracuse University as well. I'll ask you on your side of things, how did this game come to be for Syracuse University? Is this why did you target this particular game in Atlanta and felt like it would be a good fit for the Orange?
Because number one, it's either going to be on ABC or ESPN1, right? It's going to be in a great window, 12 noon. It's a terrific window coming out of game day. We recruit Georgia. We recruit the Southeast really hard. It's easy for our fans to get to, up and down the East Coast. Delta has actually added flights from Syracuse to Atlanta that weekend. You can literally fly down the night before the game, go to the game, and be back at Syracuse in time for dinner Saturday night. So it's easy to get to, easy access for all our fans up and down. And we need our fans. Part of what we want to do is, again, building the brand is games like this, everybody's watching. In other games, people like Gary and other cities are watching. What's Syracuse's turnout, right? What's our fan base? Does our fan base show up? Are they passionate? Great example for you. Last year's UNLV game in Vegas, I think half the fans were Syracuse fans. And it was awesome. And we need that in Atlanta. But it came together, frankly, I've known Gary for a long time. We did a lot of business together at ESPN. We're friends. And I lobbied him, and candidly, Gary did me a solid because we weren't that good when we booked the game. Now, we're coming off a 10-3 in a ranked season, so we're an attractive. We're frankly, we're a much more attractive team than we were when we made this deal 5-6 years ago.
You know, it's interesting you say everybody's watching because that came up during our interview with Gary. Unprompted, he brought up the fact that, you know, bowl officials are watching these games to see how many fans show up from the different schools and whatnot, and that matters. And I guess, you know, you being an athletic director at a Power 4 institution, how much does that matter come December when it's the game of musical chairs and everybody's trying to find a postseason spot? How much does that reputation of the fan base traveling or not traveling, impact those decisions?
Very important element in the decision-making process, because the first thing any bowl director is going to do is he's going to ask, is your fan base going to travel? Are they going to travel? And number two, in a game like this in Atlanta, they're going to look back and they're going to call Gary. They all talk to one another. So every bowl director that considers us, you know, later this year in December is going to call Gary and say, how was Syracuse? Did they show up in Atlanta? What was the turnout? So it's really, really, really important.
John, how important, you know, like you mentioned that, how much has it changed that fans are that important now? Like we're talking about, they're basically able to support the payroll of the teams now. And if you want to be a power, the fans have to show out, right?
Well, the fans and you also need the corporate support too, Paul. You need both. And and our fans have been really good. And by the way, you can still get tickets to the game in Tennessee. It's real easy. Cuse.com/Aflac kickoff. It's got everything there. You can buy your tickets. You can book your hotel, College Football Hall of Fame, the Atlanta Aquarium. It's one stop. So it's Cuse.com/Aflac kickoff. But fans and corporate support's more important than ever because they do impact. It's just not through ticket buying anymore. To your point, they're going to support revenue share. Corporations, third-party NIL for our best athletes, right? To retain our best athletes, critically important in this day and going forward.
How do you build a culture like that? Like if I was going through the ACC, I'd say Clemson, like where the tailgates are a thing that people want to be part of. You know, how do you build a culture? Is it just winning?
It's part, winning obviously, as Bill Parcells said, right? Winning's the best deodorant ever, right? But it's fan engagement. And it's fan experience. It's the experience of the fan from the time they leave their house to come to the Dome to the time they get back. But it's also fan engagement with our fan base is national. I would argue it's global. So we've got to have engagement and connectivity with our fans who can't get to Syracuse for a game. So it's critically important in that outreach, in that consistent communication with them. And the more we can personalize that communication, the more effective it is.
We had a fan check in with us via email. Mark Capello, I believe you know him.
Sure.
He runs the Syracuse tailgate NIL initiative.
Mark's a great guy.
He just had some questions just about where things stand with NIL right now, because, when we talked to you a couple months back, there was talk about streamlining things. And, at the time, there were several different entities and outlets and ways that people could give to NIL. Can you kind of bring us up to date where those things stand? And if fans want to get involved and somebody like Mark Capello wants to get involved, what's the best way for them to go about to do it? Are there different avenues, or is it pretty much just a one-stop shop at the moment?
Well, there's a couple different avenues. Is the College Sports Commission, obviously they've issued guidance to us, and they continue to update that guidance. So we're learning in this new environment. SU Football NIL will continue to operate, and they will operate under the rules and the guidance of the CSC. AWC, Athletes Who Care, Cliff Ensley and Holly Fansteel have been awesome. We're still in conversation determining, how does AWC fit in the model of the CSC, right? To make sure it passes the necessary litmus test there. The other thing we've done is we've launched Champion Cuse. We launched that back in early spring. And it's a campaign for $50 million for athletics over the next 3 years. And it's to support all of our programs. So that Champion Cuse is critically important because it's not only going to support football and both basketballs, it's going to support our entire program. For a donor, it's really easy. They contribute to Syracuse Athletics and Syracuse University. They receive their tax deduction benefit. So there's still a variety of ways. The other is businesses, Steve and Paulie. local businesses, and we can work with local businesses. We can work with regional businesses to connect them with athletes of the particular sport they're interested in, or in the particular athlete that they would like to represent their companies. And that is critically important to retaining our best athletes, is to be able to supplement the revenue share. And we've already said previously, I said, we're going to share the max, which is $20.5 million, but we need to supplement on top of that for our best players, particularly in football, men's and women's basketball.
John, you started off by saying how difficult the schedule was.
On
If
paper.
that holds, yes. I was going to say, if that holds, how do you evaluate the program with a schedule like that?
Yeah, I think, Paul, you've got at the end of the year, right? You'll know exactly who you played, right, and how good they were, and what type of season that they had. Last year, I think of the top 25 preseason ranked teams, I think 10 of those ranked in the preseason, at least 10 weren't ranked at the end of the season. So, who's going to predict what happens over the next 12 weeks? But at the end of the year, we'll look back and we'll reflect to see who we played against, how good they were, and how we competed against them. But again, one of the reasons I love Fran, we're not going to back down. It's a challenging schedule, but it's a terrific opportunity for us.
I was going to, one more thing. This could play with football and basketball. How much does recruiting play into your evaluation of coaches? Because I'm seeing, I'm not crazy. I've been around this area for a long time. I'm seeing the basketball and football teams in on players that they haven't been in on in a long, long time.
If you can't recruit, you're dead. You can have the greatest system in the world, right? You can, regardless of any sport, you can have the best system in the world. You know what, Paulie? If you're the quarterback and Steve's the wide receiver and I'm the cornerback, we're not going to be very good.
Yeah,
so you better be able to recruit.
Yeah, and I mean, along those lines, too, you look at, everybody's got their eye on this quarterback battle, right? And Fran has said that he wanted to make a decision after the second scrimmage. That second scrimmage is tomorrow, and so I don't know if he's going to make it public or not, but, they should have a decision between Ricky Collins or Steve Angeli coming up in the next few days. But just the fact, John, that we're talking about an LSU transfer and a Notre Dame transfer battling for the starting quarterback job coming off of a 10-win season, when you got here, did you envision that this would be Syracuse football someday? It seems to be in a really healthy place at the moment.
It's where I wanted it to get to, and it's taken longer than I would have liked it to occur. But I think we're in a really good place. I think the future of our program is really, really strong. I mean, we're recruiting at a very, very high level. I think the staff does a great job, and our support staff, player personnel, evaluating high school talent. We're still a developmental program, like every program is in the country. Then you supplement from the portal. And when you get somebody like Ricky from LSU or Steve from Notre Dame, or our offensive linemen, right? We got one from Carolina, one from Florida State, one from Alabama. We have guys that are considering Syracuse that, 5-6 years ago would not have. So I like where we are, but we still have a lot of work to do.
With a basketball program, it's the opposite. We had a year none of us are used to in Syracuse, but it appears now after the portal and the recruiting, how do you feel about the position of the basketball program?
I think they've had a really good summer, and I talked to Adrian earlier this morning, and just catch-up conversation, and he was really pleased with the progress that they made is a team over the summer, but individual growth over the summer as well. And Coach Rob, our new strength and conditioning coach, has made an immediate impact as well. So, and we had, candidly, and it helped with football as well. The portal period, we had more capital. We had donors, we had businesses step up, which gave us the capital to go out and get some really good players for men's basketball, for women's basketball, and for football as well. And you need that.
I've got one more basketball question for you. We were looking at the schedule, the way it's shaping up right now, and there is a gap between the SEC ACC Challenge December 2nd against Tennessee, and then the next non-conference game, which is December 13th against Hofstra. I assume there's a week built in there for final exam week. Our question, though, and I don't know if you know this yet, is there a potential for an ACC game to land there? Will there be an early conference game like there has been in years past?
Yes.
In some years?
Yeah,
there will be.
There will be, Steve, yes.
Okay. There's the gap there. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
And this comes up in our chat, John. I got one final question for you too, and it's how do you toe the line with Fran Brown? The fan base is pumped about him. 10-win season. There's a concern in our fan base that it's impossible for Syracuse to keep a coach that's good. And at what point would you decide, hey, this is a guy we need to keep long term, or it's something, how do you go through that process of deciding whether or not you want to keep a coach?
I hope Fran, I love what Fran and his staff have done in their year and a half here and where they positioned our program. It's my goal, my desire. I hope Fran's the head coach of Syracuse football for a long time. I hope we have, I hope we can get back to have a run like we did in the 80s and the 90s, if not even better than that. His aspirations and his goals are extraordinarily high, as are mine. So we're aligned on that. We've continued to invest strategically in the football program in terms of retaining assistant coaches, our support personnel staff, which is critically important as well. I'll tell you, one of the ways fans can do it is show up. We have 6 home games. You sell out all those 6 home games, you know what? That's the community showing Coach Fran, his staff, and our players how important football is to this community. And I would encourage our fans, season tickets, we've got a very limited supply left in the lower bowl. So for season tickets, go to cuse.com/tickets. Get your season tickets now. Again, we're 95% sold out in the lower bowl, still have some high quality seats. In the 300s, actually every seat in the dome, in the JMA dome for football is a really good seats. But one of the ways fans is show up.
One last one. Art Monk's jersey getting retired.
Yeah.
Maybe you can go into how that came about.
Yeah, it's Salatha Willis, who's our associate AD. Salatha is in charge of that. And I work closely with him. And, it was... Art Monk is a no-brainer, right? He was an All-American here. When he retired from the NFL, he had held a number of receiving records, Super Bowl champion, tremendous person, great representative of this university, of the Washington Commander franchise. So, again, honored and look forward to the end of the year against BC. It'll be a fitting way to retire Art's jersey against one of our longtime rivals, and incredibly well-deserved, not only for what he did on the football field, but who he is as a human being.
And as we wrap this up and again point to the season opener, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow, we talked at the beginning of this interview about the importance of fans getting down there. You said it can be a quick down and back. It can also be an entire weekend, right? I mean, that's the other.
It's a great city. Yeah. There's a game on Sunday, Virginia Tech, South Carolina. If you love college football, you got a great doubleheader with our game Saturday, Virginia Tech, South Carolina Sunday. You got the College Football Hall of Fame, which if you haven't been, it's awesome. It is. I think it's the best Hall of Fame, hands down. And what they've done with it, with the technology that's in that building and the interactive components of it. You got the Georgia Aquarium, which is, world renowned. You've got the Braves. So you can make it a weekend, or you can make it a really quick down and back to get back to Central New York to enjoy the rest of your Labor Day weekend. But there'd be nothing better than to have a real show of the right shade of orange in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome on Saturday, August 30th at 12 noon to show the country that, Syracuse football is on the map. We're a national brand. We're a national power. And we're going to be here for a while.
Well said, John. Enjoy what's left of your summer. Enjoy the weekend, and I'm sure we'll see you down there in Atlanta.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Paulie. Go Orange and go Dodgers, Paulie, versus your Padres.
Ouch. Beat LA. Hey. Thanks, John.
Thanks,
Parting
guys.
Shots from John Wildhack.
Getting it from Bayham and Wildhack today.